Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan, and the topic of this 10-minute moan is the news that the police were gagged in Southport by the CPS. And this story, although not a surprise, has now been confirmed by the Telegraph, who've ran a story yesterday, last night, and I'll use that as reference. And their headline is, police were gagged by CPS over Southport killer. Merseyside detectives warned to hold back from releasing information about Axel Rudakubana. And this is the thing that I find bizarre, and I'll just get this off the bat right away. We are told that if we know certain things about an accused, then that's bad, because it could influence juries and etc. in scupper cases because of contempt of court. What I can't get out of my head over the last 24 hours is, why is it we're not allowed to know some things, but it's perfectly all right to know other things? Like, we knew his name, we know his background, we know he had a knife, we know he got a taxi, we know there was an issue with the taxi when he arrived there. We knew some of his movements inside the building. These things were all reported on. We were, we were quickly told he was a Christian from Cardiff. That information was no scuppering a trial. What I can't get my head around is, it's the contempt of court to show you're no influence on a jury, basically. That's kind of why it's there. But if you're, if telling somebody something bad's influence on a jury, why is telling somebody good not influencing a jury? Why is painting this picture of this angelic character through visual, which is as bad as verbal, clues to someone? Why are these okay? My argument is, the way this boy was portrayed in the media, you found it hard to believe he'd murdered anybody, right? Let alone 3 lovely wee girls in Southport and almost another 8 plus 2 adults with attempted murder. The way he was portrayed, so we were allowed to know all that. That's okay. We're allowed to tell people and potentially influence jurors that someone alleged a horrific crime is quite a nice person. That's all right. But don't tell them bad things. That's not all right. And I can't abide by that. That's just not right. Anyway, the police were gagged from releasing vital information about Axel Rudakubana in the wake of the Southport murders, according to sources. Merseyside detectives had wanted to provide details about the killer's background, including his religion and his crimes, but were warned not to by the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. They had also been keen to explain more about terrorist documents and a batch of ricin found at his home, but were advised against it, police sources have told the Telegraph. Following Rudakubana's guilty pleas on Monday, prosecutors also tried to block details of a pre-trial briefing held by Merseyside Police being reported. The police and politicians knew Rudakubana had terrorist material shortly after the attack, but police were told. Sorry, but the public was not told, I beg your pardon. The decision not to be more transparent has been blamed for fueling the riots, and there are growing suspicions that information is not released in an attempt to ensure community harmony. Now, this is a bit that I'm saying as well. People are more likely to protest and lead to riots when they have no faith in the government and they feel that they're being lied to. If people feel they might be telling us stuff we don't like, but at least they're telling us something, I believe they're less likely to protest to start with, and occasionally riot. Now, I'm not trying to apologise and make it fine that the riots. I mean, protest. I will never ever say anything other than people have the right to protest, whatever. Even if it's topics I don't agree with, they have the right to protest. The riots, that's a different thing. However, what I do know is that if we were under the impression, at least, that our government was not lying to us, I don't believe the protests, which led to some riots, would have been anywhere near the level they were. And I'll say it, I've said it since the day it happened, and I'll say it every day from then. The British public have got fears and concerns. Knife crime, protection of our children, the amount of young men flooding into the country and we don't know who they are undocumented and coming in illegally. These things are all concerns that the British public have. And when they feel these concerns are not being listened to or even accepted by the government, then of course people are going to get angry. And that's what happened in the summer in the streets of the United Kingdom. And we then go, oh, it's far right and all this nonsense, right? There was people in other communities rioting as well in the summer and things where they felt their community was being in hardship. And, you know, the biggest incident was Hairhills in Leeds, where the Child Protection Services tried to remove some children. And that whole community was up in arms, started setting fire to buses and all that. So that's what happens when people are angry. And people will get angry when they feel and understand that their government is hiding things from them. So don't tell us lies. And people will still protest, but they'll probably be less numbers and they'll probably be less likely to turn that into anger and aggression. So learn for this. Anyway, the decision not to be more transparent has been blamed for fueling the riots, and there are growing suspicions that information was not released in an attempt to ensure community harmony. And again, this always seems to work one way. Do you know what I mean? It didn't. And again, it was a horrific case, and quite rightly, the man was banged to rights, where an absolute crackpot, a genuine far right guy with, you know, the Hitler, I think he'd Hitler's signature in his arm tattooed and stuff like that, attempted murder on a guy just because he's colour. Now that's not right, but nobody was like trying to hide any of the details of that guy, and that guy done for 22 years, right? So there's nobody looking at like community harmony there, right? Nobody's thinking, can he tell people, you know, they might get scared if we tell them that you know how much a lunatic this guy is. No such thing. Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, who used to be the head of the CPS, insisted in a speech from Downing Street on Tuesday that information had to be kept secret to prevent any future trial collapsing. I'm calling BS on that, as I've already explained. Stephen Parkinson, the Director of Public Prosecutions, admitted on Tuesday that the police's actions reflected the CPS advice, but he defended the lack of transparency around the case. However, Jonathan Hall Casey, the independent reviewer of terrorism legislation, has said far more information could have been put out into the public domain by the government and the police without prejudicing legal proceedings. Critics, including Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary, has warned that the public will continue to suspect a cover-up until Sir Keir explains exactly why he failed to give the public more information about the attacks. The day after the attacks, the detectives searching Rudakubana's home discovered suspicious substances which were subsequently confirmed to be the deadly poison ricin. The following days, police also seized his Al-Qaeda training manual entitled Military Studies in the Jihad Against the Tyrants, which suggests Rudakubana had an interest in Islamic extremism and terrorism. But details of these discoveries were kept under wraps for another 3 months until Rudakubana was charged at the end of October with extra offences of producing a biological toxin and possessing documents useful to a person preparing a terrorist act. The police source told the Telegraph there were frustrations among those working the case that they were being prevented from saying more. Now, I'll come back to that in a minute, because this is how it's going to be. You're going to get more of this. We don't know everything yet, and it will get worse. We will find more things out that's happened in the cover-up as time goes by, and I'll explain why in a minute. He said, the source said, didn't say if it was a man or a woman, as far as they are concerned, the more information that is in the public domain, the better it is, negates the speculation and conspiracies. That seems quite sensible. Now, what I'm saying here is, right, so what's happened now, I can see some similarities to the branch firm investigation up here. What happens is the public get upset and they want answers, and some bodies, and the police in both instances, appeared to get the finger pointed at them a wee bit for not telling folks stuff, right? When it's not really their fault. Or branch for them, they're not investigating it quick enough. And the police suddenly go, do you know what, we need to say something because we ain't been the scapegoat here. And information starts coming out. So now the information is coming out and it's pointing the finger away from the police and towards the CPS. Now, it won't take too long before some people in the CPS go, well, we don't want to take responsibility for this, and we'll start seeing more stories coming out. Now, what I will remind you is that about a week ago, I done a video about Starmer's friend, Lord Herma, who's now our Attorney General. And what a discrepant man that is. And I'll put the videos, it wasn't one of my busiest videos because nobody knew who he was, but I'll put the link to that video at the end of this one, and you can maybe learn a wee bit more about him. So he's right at the top of the tree, and he's the one that advises government on legality of stuff. So if Keir Starmer, for example, wants to know, which is a bit weird because he is a lawyer at the end of the day, but if he wants to know what he can and can't say and what could possibly prejudice a case, then Lord Herma is his go-to guy. So if he then goes, well, we can't say stuff, I'm quite willing to accept the possibility that we will eventually find out that Lord Herma had his greasy pits all over this as well, because he's not a pleasant man. So that's what's going to happen over the next coming weeks and months. But take that to the bank. We will learn more. And there was another article, if you let me, where was it? I seen it online. I thought I'd kept on with it. The stuff that we know it already, that we've been told through the proper channels, it's not at all. Apparently this kid has had a lot of anti-white, anti-colonialist stuff found in his house as well. So that's just another indicator of we'll still not get the full story. And I feel through time, nobody likes to take the blame for anything, especially when it's not them. And people tend to start pointing in other directions when they get wrongly accused of it being them. And I genuinely believe that over the next weeks and months, we'll see more and more bodies in our government going, no, it wasn't really us, it was him over here, and here's something else to take to the newspaper. And they all sources start popping up all over the place till eventually we get the full picture. But we are nowhere near the full picture yet. Mark my words on that. And it will come. There's nothing surer, because people, when the public start going, oh, the police, you've been holding stuff back, the police don't, they go, well, it was them. And now it's the CPS. So if it's the CPS will eventually start putting stories out and leaks will come out, and it'll be, well, it was actually that guy there. And by the way, we knew this as well. And it may take some time, but we'll eventually find out the whole truth. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit subscribe and the notification bell. Put comments below, please, always enjoy that. But most importantly, though, unless you're the type of person that hides things for the good British public and tells us lies, not you, but
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.